Hey, beautiful people, this is Danielle Mantle, and welcome to the very first episode of Entrepreneurship Exposed. You know what's funny? I've been thinking about how to start this podcast for weeks, and I kept trying to make it sound all professional and perfect. But then I realized that's exactly what I don't want to do. Instead, I want to sit down with you like we're having coffee together and share something real. Today, I'm going to tell you my story. How I went from being that successful corporate person who was actually broke during the pandemic to building my own company. And trust me, it's a wild ride. You know those Instagram posts where everything looks perfect? Well, this isn't one of those stories. This is about a girl with a broken laptop, zero business experience, and a whole lot of people telling her she was crazy. Maybe I was a little crazy, but sometimes that's exactly what you need to be. Let me take you back to early 2020. Picture this: I had just landed what seemed like the perfect job, marketing and communication director at this big company. Fresh out of my master's degree, fancy title, nice salary. I was living the dream, right? My family was happy, my friends were impressed, and I had made it. But you know what's interesting about life? It has its funny way of showing you that what looks perfect on paper isn't always perfect in reality. When COVID 19 hit, everything changed. Our company's revenue dropped, and suddenly, this dream job couldn't even pay my bills. 3 months without a salary. Can you imagine? There I was with all my education and my impressive title, struggling to buy grocery. Now, this is where it gets interesting. During those tough days, I spent a lot of time on LinkedIn, partly because I was trying to stay connected, but mostly because I was looking for something. I didn't know what exactly, but I knew something had to change. That's when I started noticing this posts from Dr. Francis Mbunya. Every day he would share this amazing insight about business and life. He was from Cameroon like me, but he had built this incredible life in the US. At first, I was just another person liking his posts, dropping comments here and there. And little did I know that those simple comments will lead to a conversation that will completely change my life. Here's what happened. One day we're talking, and he asked me this simple question: Danielle, with all your qualifications and your good job, how much have you managed to save? Hmm. The silence that followed that question was so loud because the answer was zero, nothing. I mean, nada. And he asked me something that hits even harder. So, what exactly are you waiting for? Let me tell you about the most terrifying 2 weeks of my life. After that conversation, I couldn't sleep, couldn't eat properly. I was praying, fasting, thinking, overthinking, you name it. My poor laptop during this time, it was like it knew something big was coming because it started acting up even more than usual. Every week, something would break. The technician became literally my best friend. Well, the reactions when I told people I was going to quit my job. Oh my goodness. My boss, this successful businessman who was also a pastor, looked at me like I had completely lost my mind. He said something I will never forget. The door will be open for you always, if only you think of coming back. Well, my family, they organized what I like to call an intervention meeting. One of those where everyone sits you down to tell you how worried they are about your life choices. Yeah, that kind. Now, let me paint you a picture of what starting DiDreams really looked like. My office was literally a corner of my bedroom. My high-tech equipment was my struggling laptop that needed more repair visit than I had clients meeting, you know. So, and speaking of clients, for 6 whole months, I had exactly one client who was my mentor. Yeah, one. And trust me, some days even keeping that one client happy was a challenge. You want to know the real struggles? Let me tell you about doing client calls during power outage. There I was sitting in the dark trying to sound professional while sweating because the fan couldn't work. Or how about when the internet will decide to play hide and seek right in the middle of an important meeting? Well, my lowest point was in month 7. I got so discouraged that I pretended to be sick for 3 days. I just laid in bed, staring at my ceiling, having this very dramatic conversation with myself about whether I had made the biggest mistakes of my life.
But here's where the magic happened. After those 3 days of my little PT party where I was sorry about myself, let's be honest, that's what it was. Something shifted, you know. I got up, looked in the mirror, and had a real talk with myself. You know what's crazy? Within a week of that moment, I got two new clients through my mentor's network. Two, yes. When you've had one client for 6 months, two new clients feel like winning the lottery. Yeah. And then things just started flowing. Those two clients led to more clients. The bedroom office became too small. My team grew. First one person, then another. Here's what I really want you to know, because this is the stuff nobody tells you about entrepreneurship. It's okay to be scared. I was terrified. It's okay if your equipment isn't perfect. My laptop was basically held together with prayers. It's okay if people think you're crazy. Sometimes the craziest decisions are the best ones. It's okay to have days when you want to give up. Those 3 days I spent in bed, they were necessary. And most importantly, it's okay to start small, really small, like one client and a broken laptop, small, or a failing laptop. Today, DiDreams is more than I ever imagined it could be. We are helping businesses to build their brands, tell stories, and make their impact and their mark in the world. That broken or failing laptop is now a funny story, we tell at team meetings or during conferences or events. That one client, he's still with us, along with many others from around the world. But you know what's the best part? Every morning I walk into our office, our real office, not my bedroom corner. I still feel a little bit of that crazy excitement from when I first started. Because here's the truth, sometimes the best things in life start with a crazy decision and a broken or a failing laptop. So, this is my message to you, especially if you're sitting somewhere right now, dreaming about making a big change. Your start doesn't have to be perfect. Your equipment doesn't have to be top notch. Your plan doesn't have to be completely figured out. You just need to start. Take that first step, even if it's a small step, even if your laptop needs weekly repairs, even if people think you're crazy. Because who knows? Maybe your crazy dream is exactly what the world needs. Next week, we will have another amazing story to share. Until then, you can follow our journey on Instagram, LinkedIn, and other social media accounts at Entrepreneurship Exposed, or check out what we are up to at DiDreams.com. Thank you for being part of this first episode. And remember, sometimes the craziest dreams turn out to be the best ones. See you next week, beautiful dreams builder.